James Wan's The Conjuring. I gotta say, paranormal horror films typically aren't my go-to horror films, mainly because the supernatural elements tend to take me out of the realism of the film, and realistic films always satisfy me the most. But The Conjuring is definitely an exception, and it's because of the great acting performances and the stunning direction by James Wan. James Wan really understands how to balance true suspense and tension without making his films feel like they're a slow burn. Even though The Conjuring might have moments of slowness or slow moments, there's always something happening. This film is about the Perron family, who moved into a house that is haunted by an evil, demonic spirit that dates all the way back to the Salem witch trials in the 1600s. The family contacts Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are paranormal investigators, who help save this family from becoming prey to this hateful, malevolent spirit. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga play the Warrens, and they are the best parts of this film. They really do give great performances in this film. They are very deep. The case of this film becomes one of the most deadly cases that the Warrens have ever worked on. And they're good at what they do, but their work is absolutely dangerous, and they're becoming more and more weary of taking on cases like this, because every time they do, it usually affects them in some way. They are the ones who are going to save this family from death, to be honest. They are the Perron family's only hope. And as such, Wilson and Farmiga do a great job at remaining calm despite being truly terrified. Lily Taylor plays Caroline Perron in this film, and she's also very good. She plays the mother, a very nurturing, selfless, caring mother who eventually becomes possessed by this demon. She cares for her family a great deal, which is why it's so much sadder when she begins to exhibit signs of demonic possession. Another thing I like about this film is that it sets up conflict between the Warren family and their investigating. Like I said, each time they do, it affects them personally, and so Ed is hesitant about taking this case. They do help ultimately because they cannot just sit back and watch a helpless family be tormented by this spirit. And like I said, they feel like the heroes in that regard. The choice between avoiding something and taking action is very apparent in this film. The Warrens risk their own safety for the well-being of the Perron family, and that's a beautiful thing. It's a very heroic thing. The film is also very focused. There are no subplots, really, that distract you from what's really going on. The film is committed to telling you this story, and nothing more. Everything that happens to the characters and what they go through is in service of this story, and I really like that. The film doesn't try to provide any relief to the audience. It never lets you off the edge of your seat until the credits roll. And this is what I meant about James Wan really understanding how to build tension and suspense in a genuine way. The first signs of something wrong is when the dog, Sadie, does not want to enter the house. You know, I guess pets have that sixth sense kind of thing going on. Additionally, when Carolyn wakes up after the first night, she has bruises all over her body. The house becomes abnormally cold, and not because of the furnace, and there's a foul odor in the house. And the clocks stop at the same time every single day, all the clocks in the house. There's no real rational explanation for these things, but quiet moments like these, without any haunting music or loud sound effects, really work for me. They seep into your mind and alert you that something is wrong without overwhelming you. Now, like Sinister, this film does have horror tropes, but they're done with such flair and such confidence that they feel absolutely necessary and not forced. The screenplay in this film is also very good. It has a really good story. The writing is excellent. Now, the film is based on a true story, and I'm not sure how much artistic license this film took when developing its story, but it worked for me. The story is simple. It's not a very complex story, but in that simplicity, it has the ability to explore the complexity of its characters and their arcs as opposed to goofy narratives. The dialogue is believable, the actors sell it, and there's not one actor who is doing a bad job. And you know, a lot of the jump scares in this film are noises that are actually taking place, not, you know, sound effects of sound design. Like, when a jump scare happens, it's maybe a bus stopping and that hiss that it makes, or it's a character sleepwalking, bumping into the dresser. The film also does a very good job at presenting these two families, the Perrons and the Warrens, and their separate issues and things that they're dealing with until they eventually coincide within the story. I really liked how we got to know each family and what's going on with them before they met. It makes you feel for the characters instead of just the Warrens just coming in like, we're paranormal investigators, step aside. Like, no, you know them, you understand that they're legit, and They want to help people, and the Perron family really needs their help. Like I said earlier, the Warrens are becoming more skeptical about their investigating because it's starting to affect them personally, until they are approached by Caroline, whose fear is so evident. You know, the characters are real. The story isn't about cheap jump scares and over-the-top characters. There is actual characterization going on, and there are real problems and drama that is happening. So you really do become invested in these characters, and that's why it works when the shit starts to hit the fan in the third act. And I shouldn't even say that. There's shit hitting the fan throughout this film, man. The Conjuring is definitely a film that digs beneath the surface level. It doesn't dwell on the surface and just try to, let me see how many cheap scares I can get out of the audience. No, it really tries to create characters. And I'm not saying every single character has this compelling arc. There are some side characters that are kind of just there, but the main characters, Ed and Lorraine Warren and Carolyn and Roger, the mother and the father, are the main real characters that are dealing with all this shit. I really like that. I really like when a horror film feels like a drama. What I really liked about this film is that it needs the Perron family to be scared enough to seek out the Warrens. So it has reasons to include abnormal noises and jump scares. They're justified. I really love the scene when the Warrens are first investigating the house. At first, it appears that Lorraine is just looking around, but at second glance, it's obvious that she notices something that the characters and the audience doesn't. Afterwards, Lorraine reveals that she saw the demon latched on to members of the family. Another great scene is when Ed is recording a conversation between him and Caroline, and when they play the tape later on, Carolyn's dialogue is muffled, like the demon doesn't want anything revealed to the Warrens. You can only hear Ed speak. I love quiet moments like these, where the film is hiding something from us, albeit for a short while, and then jumps back to scenes that we've already seen only to reveal something. Those are great. I also love the very sweet scene when Carolyn reveals to Lorraine this beautiful moment that she experienced with her family when the family was moving away from their old house and they were on the beach and they were all filled with joy and they were just happy. The point of this scene is to reveal how much love there is amongst the Perron family so that when Carolyn becomes possessed, Lorraine can use this to save her. I think this is why the final scene, when Ed performs the exorcism on Carolyn, made me cry, because it's so emotional. It's not just an exorcism, it is saving someone's soul via love. Someone who the audience has come to care for over the course of the film. You know, the contrast between a loving family and a hateful spirit works so well in this film. It's a very emotionally powerful and intense scene. I mean, Carolyn tries to kill her own daughter. It's brutal, but love conquers all, and it's evident through this last scene. The film does tread familiar horror ground, but as I said earlier, it's very fresh. You know, there's scenes in which we think something will pop out, but nothing really does. And that's because James Wan doesn't want to exhaust the audience. I don't know, man. This film scared me. I really felt the dread that both families felt in the movie. And that's what matters. If the movie convinced me, and this film definitely did, and I'm gonna remember this movie for a long time. I definitely recommend seeing The Conjuring. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe down below. Stay tuned for next week. Have a great day, everybody.